going to do a review on sleeping pads. Since I have, my very first sleeping pad was before the Appalachian Trail through hike that I did at the beginning of this year, 2019. And I had picked up, well, none other than the Z-Lite, the Thermarest Z-Lite. This is the one that's like 2.6 hour rating, weighs in right at about 14 ounces. Now, I believe if you cut a panel off, you lose almost an ounce. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a little, not quite an ounce. And I had this one, but then I picked up another one and I cut 3 panels off as to just cover a small portion of me. Now, I went from sleeping in a tent to a hammock, but I cut off 3 of those panels, so I was able to still have most of it covering my body except for my feet. But I only used it. The other one, I actually put it in a hiker box on the Appalachian Trail, and I only used it a couple of times when I was forced to sleep on the ground, when there was no trees around, or we stayed in one shelter, so I used it then. But I left this one home because I went against it, and then I decided to buy, just before my thru hike, I decided to buy this Klymit Static V Junior. Now, as far as this goes, I'll take this with me like on my winter camps, and put this underneath as a secondary, and mostly for the reflective part of it. But I think I've come up with something that's even lighter weight, because I don't necessarily need the pad as much as I do the reflective part for my cold weather camping, and we'll discuss that in another video. But so this, for me, it's a great pad specifically just for the reflective part. Other than that, it is not comfortable for me at all. I know a lot of people that use one of these on their thru hike, and they slept on it every single night for the most part. I don't know how they did it, because I couldn't do it. I don't get good sleep. I've tried it. I'm restless all night long. So 14 ounces, an R value of 2.6. So not a lot of comfort or warmth with this particular pad. Very, very popular, lightweight. So, but I went to the Klymit, and this weighs in at, well, it weighs 13 ounces, so an ounce lighter than this. The R value is 1.3, so there's really no R value there. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, obviously with this accordion style, you lay it out, you're done, okay? But I suppose after a long day of hiking, you've got all kinds of energy and all kinds of breath, so you can simply pull this out. There's 2 valves here. There's an in and there's an out. So there's the deflate and the inflate. And the inflate has a little tab in there, so when you blow into it, the air goes in, but the idea is it is supposed to come back and close, so you don't have to keep breathing. But that doesn't work all the time. But let's see how many breaths it takes to inflate this. It kind of closes, but the air still flows through. So the idea of that little tab in there pulling back does not necessarily work. Okay, so you may as well start over, because pretty much all that air I just blew in is pretty much out. So it looks like about 10 breaths, 11 breaths, maybe 12, depending on how much you blow. You can kind of see it kind of curls up a little bit on the sides. You got the baffles running horizontal, if you will, to your body, and then these edges here kind of rolls up. Now I use this in my hammock as well for a little bit of insulation, even though it's only R value of 1.3. It did help in my hammock a little bit on some cooler nights, but I also had, because I do not have an underquilt as of yet. So I'll put this one here, again a 3/4, just so it covered my back, my hips, and if I had a pillow, it would be just fine. So not a bad pad, actually. I'm a side sleeper most of the time, so it's pretty cushy. My hip is not driving into the ground at all, so it holds pretty well. Although, as of right now, there is a small hole in this somewhere, and I don't know where it's at. I'm going to have to take some time to find out where it's at and patch it. This here comes with a little patch kit inside this pocket. So I will need to find that hole, because it's not a bad pad, and lightweight, 13 ounces. So that's a pretty good pad. I do plan on keeping this pad either for myself or for someone else to use if they don't have gear. So I will keep this pad, and I will use it probably more in the summertime if I need to, although I really don't need it in my hammock. And in the summertime, I like to sleep in my hammock, but there may be times I need to go to the ground, like there's a trail coming up that I may do, that I will not be able to take my hammock because there's a lot of desert in there and whatnot. So I will end up taking a tent and sleeping on the ground. So this will be my go-to pad at that time. So we'll just go ahead and deflate that. I open both sides, kind of help it out, but we'll let this kind of deflate myself. So now, since I got the hole in it, I needed something else, and of course, and I like gear, and I like to try different things. So I went out and bought another Thermarest. This is the Thermarest pro-lite Apex. Now I wanted some comfort, and I wanted some insulation because I've gone to the ground now for the winter time, sleeping in a tent. Okay, so I wanted something that had some R value to it. Now this has an R value of 4.2. Let's see what it says here. No, it's 4.0, an R value of 4.0, and this weighs in at 1 pound 12 ounces. So, and this here is 2 inches thick as well as that one. So this, I really like this. It's long. This is the large, the long. You see it's orange in color. I like that. This is nice. It's bulky. You saw how big that was. Okay, you saw the size of that when it was in there. It's very bulky. Can't really get it in the pack, so I got to attach it to the back of, or to the outside of my pack. Like in some, well, I got my 3 packs here, but like on this pack, you know, I'll put it on the bottom. We'll do a backpack review later. But let's see how many breaths this one takes. So we're 10, 11, 12 on that one, right? Now this is actually supposed to be self-inflating. So if I just let it sit there, it's supposed to self-inflate. Once you keep this, you open up this valve, yeah, and it's supposed to self-inflate. I personally have not had the patience to let it self-inflate. Okay, so I'll give it a little bit of help. count? I lost track after 20. I think that was close to 30, 26, 27, and it's still really not all the way up there. And if you noticed, I had to actually, when I stopped breathing, I had to put my tongue on it to stop the air from coming out. So again, it's supposed to be self-inflating. I give it just a couple of minutes and it doesn't start to do anything. So I don't know how that really works. I think I let it sit out for, I don't know, an hour or two at one point, and it did not inflate like this on its own. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, or maybe it's just a rejected pad. I don't know. But with that said, I do like the comfort when I lay on it. It feels nice. It feels nice. I'm a side sleeper. I can probably get it pumped up a little bit more, but my hip does drive into the ground a little bit, not too bad. And so I do like this pad as far as the comfort, but it's not as comfortable as I would like because my hip does drive down in there a little bit. And these baffles are also horizontal. There's a foam in there, a foam liner. But I am actually going to return this one. I'm not 100% pleased with it. My hip a little bit driving into it. It's big and bulky. The 1 pound 14 ounces don't bother me that much. They're just sort of 2 or 12 ounces. The air does come out fairly quick, although I do need to give it some help by just kind of doing a quick roll. And I have to do this a couple of times, and then I'll end up folding it over as well and pressing on it. But the problem is when I push the air out, it starts to inflate on its own and it pulls the air back in. And so it's a constant battle. It just takes a little longer to get her wrapped up and put back in the bag. And I'm not going to take the time to show you all that. Big, bulky, hip drive into it, not going to work for me. So I decided to go pick up the big Agnes AirCore Ultra. Now this is 1 pound 9 ounces. You can see that it's much smaller in between the Klymit and the Thermarest. Got this nice little handle right here. You can just kind of grab and pull. Comes out right quick. Now this one here, again, it's the long, but I like the 25 by 72 because I want full body coverage on this. Orange in color. This has got two. This is the rapid deflate and then the inflate. Now this one here has got a little deal inside as well, so when you blow into it, the air stays. It works. This actually works well. So Big Agnes did a good job on that. Let's see how many breaths it takes to blow this bad boy up. Now you'll see these baffles are actually vertical to the body here. What number are we on? 8, 9, 8. I'm gonna go lay on the Thermarest and take a nap. lightheaded. Whew. Okay, I can leave that open and that air is not coming out. So very good. What's cool about this is this one's like 3.5 inches thick. 3. This one's great. Side sleeper. Very, very good. My hip does not drive in at all. None whatsoever. Now, if it's a little too stiff, if there's too much air in there, you simply take, I could be laying here, and if it's just too much and I want it to deflate a little bit, I just simply put my finger on that little tab. It's got this little knobby thing in there. You just push on that. Not enough? Probably easier if you're off the pad. But that is great. I love that feature. But right now, this is like perfect for me. I actually used this last weekend for the first time, and I slept better on this than I have any other pad. Still not as well as sleeping in my hammock though. So, but this is this one is my definitely. I will be using this one for all my camping trips. If I'm in a tent, unless I'm trying to go a little bit lighter in the summertime. This one is insulated. This does not give an R value, but what they claim is that it's good for 15 degrees. Okay, so it says right here on their box. 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, insulated air core ultra is good for 15 degrees Fahrenheit, -9 Celsius. So 15 up to 35. So this is a 3, they call this a 3 season, and so it's good between 15 and 35, and it did just fine last weekend when I used it. So I was very pleased with that. I do go out when it's like 0, so I'm gonna have to put something else underneath there. You know, maybe if I really decide to bulk up, you know, I could take and put this under it, or most likely on top of it, because that way my heat would reflect. But like I said, I have another idea that I will talk about another time in a cold weather video. So yeah, it's and this one here, it actually deflates quite quickly just by pushing on that, or just simply open up the other one and just do as you do with the other ones and get a little bit of help to deflate and get rid of all that air. So that is, and it's quite quick. The Thermarest one, very difficult to get all the air out of. But the Klymit and this big Agnes is absolutely much faster at deflating. So yeah, overall, like I said, the chances of me using this are pretty slim at this point. I just don't see me ever using this again, to be honest with you, for anything, because of the comfort level for me. The Klymit I'll use again for a lighter weight. Did I say this one? Yeah, 1 pound 9 ounces. The Thermarest pro-lite, I'm taking that back. I'm going to return that back. It's just not going to work for me. So it's the big Agnes for me, and you can see these ones. It's the big Agnes Air Core Ultra, and this is the insulated sleeping pad. Just under $100 I got it for, so it's not bad. But you guys, that is my review of the sleeping pads that I've used for, say, the past year, when as I started getting involved in backpacking. So I hope you guys have found some value in this video, and you know, you guys, you just got to get out there and try the different pads out there, because you're not going to know what really works for you. But as a side sleeper, this one's going to work best for me if I'm sleeping on the ground. So, but you guys, I appreciate you tuning in. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I ask that you please subscribe to my channel and, you know, kind of thumb through the videos I've got. There's some fun ones out there, and then there's some not so fun ones. Well, they're all fun. But there's some great stuff on a lot of those videos, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch those and go on those adventures with me. So until next time, we'll see you guys later, and I will bring another review of probably those backpacks at some point coming soon. So you guys have a great day. See you later.